Aloha everyone and welcome back to Multifamily Live. Today we are going to talk about our fifth and final day on passive investing education, and we are talking about real estate syndications. What are they? And are they even right for you? So a real estate syndication is the phrase that's used to define the pooling of investors' funds to purchase a commercial real estate asset. So there are many different syndications, real estate syndications. You can syndicate, for instance, storage. You can syndicate senior housing. You can syndicate student housing. There's so many different types of commercial real estate that you can get into. So what Jason and I do is called value add large multifamily. We add value to our buildings, and we're going to actually talk about that a little bit. It comes in let's go with three different steps. You have the acquisition, you have the operations, and then you have the disposition of the property. In the acquisitions phase, and I'm talking about the active part, none of this is something that you are going to take part in as a passive investor, but I would like you to know about it. So within the acquisitions team and the sponsors find the asset, they perform the due diligence on the asset, they acquire the asset, close the deal, and then perform the duties, and this is where we're getting into the operations of the property. We start implementing the business plan and renovating the property, repositioning the property, and taking it to the point where we start adding value to the property. That's why it's called value add multifamily. And then at some point, when we take it to that level that we want it to be, where it's performing, when we're hitting our metrics, where we're hitting the numbers that we looked towards when we did our due diligence, when we brought on our investors, and when we funded the deal, in the origination, in the acquisitions phase, in this operations phase, this is where the hard work comes in. This is where the asset manager really puts their head down and gets the deal running, repositions the property, takes it to that level, and then we take it to the dispositions phase where we liquidate or we sell the asset, and that's where the returns usually come back, or we refinance the asset and we hold it for the long term. So those are usually the three different stages that a multifamily, value-add multifamily asset goes through. Now, is this right for you? I almost completely skipped over the funding part. To make a real estate syndication work, we need the limited partners. We need our passive investors to help us fund the deal. So a real estate syndication is usually a long-term operation. It can take anywhere from a year or two to 3 to 5, but most sponsors will underwrite into a 7-year horizon, which means they're expecting, or they've underwritten with the knowledge that they could be holding this asset for up to 7 years. In that time period, you have to make sure that the sponsor has let you know where he or she thinks financially the asset will sit from year to year. How long will their business plan take? How long will the reposition take? Because once that reposition is going, and Jason and I like to invest and have invested with cash flow positive from the beginning assets that provide our investors with an immediate return on their investment. So knowing that and knowing where the finances are going, is this right for you? Here's a couple of questions that I need you to ask yourself. Most real estate syndications, the minimum investment is going to be $50,000. Do you have an extra $50,000 that you can use to invest with? A lot of syndicators will call this play money. I never want to play with my money. In this case, is this money that you can afford not to have? If you only have, say, I don't know, $67,000 in your account, Are you good with only having that $17,000 for a rainy day, or do you need that additional funding year in, year out? So you really need to take a look at your finances and discuss with your financial advisor, with your attorneys, your accountant, your family, of course, if this kind of investment is right for you. That is one of the absolutely biggest things that you can ask yourself. Is this type of investment right for me? Can I put these funds to work? Remember, you're putting these funds to work. You're making your money work for you. And is this the type of investment that works well for you? Next, I want you to ask yourself, are the people I'm investing with, are these people that I want to know for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? Do I trust them with my funds, that they'll use my funds correctly and give me a return on my investment? Because real estate investing, real estate syndications, could you lose your money? Yes. It's risk. And if you look at the sponsors that you are investing with, the people that you're investing with, what are their track record? Do they have a track record of good returns on their investment? Do they have a track record of multiple exits like Jason and I do? If so, then ask them questions about how their past exits went, how their other assets they were able to turn those assets. Ask them questions, really research. You need to do these 3 things. Once you decide that real estate syndication is right for you, I need you to research, review, and fund. Don't just fund. Just because an opportunity is presented to you, don't have a fear of missing out. I want you to take your time to research the asset, research the sponsor, research the market. Take your time with it. If that sponsor is hounding you to make a decision, probably not right for you. When I talk to my investors, I try to get to know them first. I try to understand what their needs are first, and if this type of investment is right for them. If not, hey, that's great. Whenever it is right for you, I want you to give me a call. But until then, you won't hear me hound you. You won't hear me push this on you. Because I know when this happens, when you make the decision to make this kind of big financial decision, I want to make sure that you know that I have your back. So do your research, review. There's going to be a ton of paperwork that you're going to get, starting with the investment summary. And the investment summary will have all the financials on it that the sponsor has provided to you, so you can look at, what does the market tell me? What does this tell me about the market? What do the numbers tell me? And it gives you a full explanation of the investment. And there should be a webinar that goes along with that, either one that you're invited to or invited to watch if it had already happened. So once you have the investment summary, you have the webinar, try and get your questions answered, whether via email or hopping on a call with the key sponsors or whoever is your contact within the organization of that real estate syndication. So ask your questions, and then this is where the true test comes, is really digging in and looking at that PPM. So this is called a private placement memorandum. It's basically a 100+ document with all the information for the syndication. Everything that is to do with the syndication is in this big old pile, and if you're watching this on YouTube, it's a very, very thick pile of paper. Go through it, and your sponsor should be able to let you know all the information that you need to know within the document, all the risks that you could take, all the things that could go wrong. It's all listed there in the PPM, because we want you to know that although we want to be complete fiduciaries of your investment funds, there are things that could go wrong. It is an investment. So review the PPM, review all the documents, ask your questions, and then it comes time to fund. That is your biggest piece of a real estate syndication. You bring in the capital. Once that capital is placed, technically your job's done. I don't believe that though. Once you fund a deal, you should keep appraised of the deal. You should be getting, at least in the beginning, perhaps monthly reports on how the property is going. That's how Jason and I like to do it. Until we do the full reposition of a property, we give our investors monthly reports and then their quarterly returns. So once this happens, once you fund the deal, I want you to keep track of the deal, keep track of the sponsors, and ask questions should they come up. Ask questions because you are a key part of this deal. Even though you are not part of the general partnership of the sponsorship team, you have a key role as a limited partner. The only reason why it's called limited is because that is your risk. You have limited risk in the deal. Your risk is your investment. The rest of the risk is placed on the sponsorship team, on the general partnership. But that investment that you put in, that's really important to you. That's your money making money for you. And you want to make sure that it's continuing to be in a safe place. So keep up with the investment, keep up with the investors, and let them know when you have questions. So I hope this was helpful. This is the end of our 5-part series on passive investing. If you have any other questions, really any questions at all, please put them down in the chat. Please let me know. I will answer them. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, review, subscribe, press all the buttons, all the good buttons. And thank you so very much. So much aloha, so much peace, so much love, and have a great day. Bye now.